Captain Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the U.S. Intrepid, watching chunks of ice and rock tumble past in the endless dance of the Kuiper Belt. The mining support vessel's worn hull reflected dully in the viewport's reinforced glass, its industrial-grade plating scarred by 2 decades of service among the asteroids. Most modern captains would have requested a transfer by now, seeking command of one of the sleek new automated mining vessels. But Sarah knew better. There was something special about these old workhorses that the bureaucrats back on Earth couldn't quantify on their efficiency reports. "Captain, we're picking up some unusual readings from Survey Point Delta," called out Dr. Aisha Kumar from her sensor station. The young scientist had joined their crew 6 months ago, fresh from the academy, and initially disappointed to be assigned to what she'd called a floating museum. Now her voice carried the confidence that came from learning to trust equipment that prioritized reliability over sophistication. Sarah made her way to the sensor station, her magnetic boots clicking against the deck plates. The Intrepid's artificial gravity was limited to essential areas only, another inefficiency according to the beam counters. "Show me," she ordered, leaning over Kumar's shoulder to study the holographic display. The sensor readout showed a strange pattern of radiation emanating from a cluster of ice fragments. It wasn't like anything they'd seen before in their surveys. "Could be a new type of mineral deposit," Kumar suggested, but her furrowed brow suggested she didn't believe her own words. "Run it through the old spectrometer," Sarah ordered. The Intrepid's original scanning equipment might be considered obsolete, but its simple, robust design could sometimes pick up things that newer, more specialized equipment missed. As Kumar adjusted the settings, the radiation pattern began to resolve into something more distinct and more troubling. "Captain," Kumar's voice dropped to a whisper, "these energy signatures, they match theoretical patterns for advanced propulsion systems, not human ones." Sarah straightened, her mind racing. They'd all heard rumors of strange sightings in the outer system, but until now, that's all they'd been, rumors. "How many distinct signatures are you seeing?" "At least 30, maybe more. They're trying to hide among the ice fragments, using some kind of advanced cloaking technology. But our old sensors, they're not looking for what these ships expect to be hidden from." A priority message flashed across the main screen. Orders from Earth Command directing all survey vessels to return to the inner system for a routine equipment upgrade. Sarah's jaw tightened. They knew something was coming. "Message from engineering, Captain," announced Communications Officer Jack Torres. "Chief Rodriguez says he's detected power fluctuations in the ice field. Says it reminds him of the harmonic patterns from when we're testing new mining laser configurations." Sarah nodded slowly. Marcus Rodriguez had been the Intrepid's chief engineer for 15 years. If he said something was off about power readings, she believed him. "They're testing weapons," she concluded, "using the ice field for target practice, while they think no one can see them." The bridge crew fell silent, the implications sinking in. They were looking at an invasion force, one that thought it was invisible to human detection. And thanks to their supposedly outdated equipment, the Intrepid might be the only ship that could see them. "Orders, Captain?" Torres asked, his hand hovering over the communications panel. The recall order still flashed on the main screen, demanding acknowledgement. Sarah walked back to the viewport, studying the seemingly empty space where she now knew enemy ships lurked. The Intrepid was no warship. She was a mining support vessel, built to survey asteroids and support the massive mining platforms that harvested resources from the solar system's outer reaches. But right now, she might be humanity's only early warning system. "Send a coded acknowledgement," she decided. "Tell them we're experiencing minor drag alignment issues. Estimated delay of 72 hours before we can safely execute a return burn." She turned to face her crew, seeing the mixture of fear and determination in their eyes. "That should buy us enough time to gather more data on our visitors. Kumar, I want continuous scans. Rodriguez needs to know everything about how their power systems work. Torres, dig up the old emergency protocols, the ones from before they standardized all ship communications. We're going to need secure channels that our friends out there won't be expecting. And the mining lasers, Captain. Rodriguez's voice came through the intercom. Should I power them down? A slight smile crossed Sarah's face. No, Chief. In fact, I want you to start running calibration tests. Lots of them. Let's give our hidden friends something to think about while they're practicing their shooting. The Intrepid might be old, but she had something no modern vessel could match. A crew that knew every quirk, every capability, and every hidden strength of their ship. As Sarah watched her people spring into action, she knew they'd just become humanity's first line of defense against an enemy that thought technology alone guaranteed victory. They had 72 hours to prove them wrong. The Intrepid's engineering bay hummed with activity as Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez studied the holographic display of energy signatures they'd collected. Scattered tools and partially dismantled sensor arrays surrounded his workstation, remnants of their rushed effort to maximize their scanning capability. His crew had spent the last 24 hours modifying their mining sensors in ways their designers had never intended. The pattern recognition software is giving us something interesting, he called out to Captain Chen, who stood nearby examining an old manual on industrial scanning techniques. These aliens aren't just hiding, they're rehearsing. Sarah moved to his station, watching as he highlighted various energy spikes in the three-dimensional display. Rehearsing what exactly? Formation changes. Attack patterns. Look here. Marcus gestured at a series of overlapping signatures. They're practicing how to emerge from cloak in perfect attack positioning. The energy surge from multiple ships decloaking simultaneously would overwhelm most modern defense systems. Most modern systems, Sarah repeated thoughtfully, but not older ones. Marcus grinned. Modern shields are incredibly sophisticated. They can adapt to almost any energy pattern they recognize. But that's their weakness. They're designed to recognize and counter known weapons. Our old mining shields, they're basically just brute force energy barriers. Simple, but sometimes simple is better. Dr. Kumar's voice came through the intercom. Captain, I finished analyzing those radiation patterns you asked about. The aliens' cloaking technology seems to create a unique distortion in background radiation, something our mining sensors are particularly good at detecting because they're calibrated to find trace elements in asteroids. Sarah smiled. Another advantage of outdated technology. Modern sensors were precisely tuned to ignore such background noise. How accurate can we make our tracking? With the modifications Chief Rodriguez's team made, we can pinpoint their positions to within 50 meters. Better than they can track themselves, probably. They seem to rely heavily on their advanced systems, maybe too heavily. Speaking of their systems, Marcus added, pulling up another display, we've noticed something else. Their power signatures show signs of what we used to call harmonic vulnerability. It's an old problem we solved decades ago with brute force shielding. But their fancy new tech, he shook his head, might have the same weakness. Sarah leaned closer to the display. Explain. Their shields operate on incredibly complex frequency patterns, probably makes them nearly impenetrable to modern weapons, but hit them with a simple, powerful energy blast at just the right frequency. He trailed off meaningfully. Like from a mining laser? Sarah asked, beginning to see where this was going. Exactly. Our industrial cutting beams are considered primitive by military standards. They're just focused energy at a fixed frequency. But if that frequency happens to match the shield harmonics, how long to modify our mining lasers? Marcus scratched his beard. That's the beauty of it. We don't need to modify them much, just need to adjust the focus and power output. We've got 4 main cutting arrays. Won't be as powerful as military weapons, but if we can hit their shields at the right frequency. Do it, Sarah ordered. And Marcus, we might need more power than regulations allow. He grinned, already bypassed the safety limiters. Don't worry, Captain. This old girl's got more fight in her than anyone knows. Sarah returned to the bridge, where Torres was coordinating with the sensor teams tracking the alien fleet's movements. Any change in their pattern? They're still running their drills, Captain. But we've noticed something. They always return to the same relative positions afterward. Almost like they're following a script. Sarah finished. They've planned this carefully, probably been preparing for months. But they never expected anyone to see them during their rehearsal. Captain, Kumar called out, excitement in her voice. I think I've found something else. Their communications. They're using quantum encryption, very advanced. But they're also using standard radio for short-range coordination. Probably consider it too primitive to worry about. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. These aliens, for all their advanced technology, were making a classic mistake, assuming that newer always meant better. The Intrepid might be old, but she and her crew had something these invaders hadn't counted on. The wisdom to know that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. How long until we have to respond to Earth Command? She asked Taurus. We've got maybe 36 hours before our drive problems excuse starts to sound suspicious. Sarah nodded, her mind racing through possibilities. All right, people, listen up. We've got advantages our visitors don't know about, but we need to use them perfectly. Kumar, I want every scrap of data about their shield frequencies. Marcus needs it for the laser modifications. Taurus, start analyzing their practice maneuvers. I want to know exactly where every ship will be when they start their attack. And someone wake up Dr. Wells in stellar cartography. If we're going to fight in the Kuiper Belt, we need to know every rock and ice chunk we can use. As her crew rushed to comply, Sarah studied the tactical display showing the alien fleet's positions. The Intrepid might be just a mining support vessel, but she was about to remind everyone that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology. It was the ability to use whatever tools were available in unexpected ways. The aliens thought they were rehearsing for a perfect surprise attack. Instead, they were giving the Intrepid's crew everything they needed to turn the tables. Sometimes, Sarah reflected, the best ambush was the one your enemy never saw coming, even when they were staring right at it. Time was running out. In the Intrepid's main cargo bay, Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez supervised the controlled chaos as his engineering team repurposed 2 decades worth of spare parts. Mining equipment lay stripped down to its components, ready to be rebuilt into something the original designers never imagined. Power conduits are at 180% of rated capacity, called out Engineer Lisa Hayes from inside an access tunnel. Added the extra cooling systems you wanted, but I still say this is crazy. Crazy is what we do best, Marcus replied, checking the modifications on his tablet. Besides, these old systems were built with huge safety margins. The officially rated capacity is nowhere near what they can actually handle. Captain Chen entered the cargo bay, stepping carefully around scattered equipment. How close are we, Chief? Marcus gestured to the massive mining laser array they'd dismounted from the ship's exterior. We've reconfigured all 4 main cutting beams. They're not pretty, but they'll hit harder than anything this size has a right to. The real genius is what Hayes figured out with the targeting systems. Lisa emerged from the access tunnel, her face streaked with coolant residue. The alien shields create a specific resonance pattern when they're active. We can use our mineral detection arrays to lock onto that resonance. They're basically painting targets on themselves. And they'll never see it coming, Sarah said, studying the modified equipment. Because no one would expect a mining vessel to turn its survey gear into a weapons targeting system. That's not all, Marcus added, leading them to a cluttered workbench. Show her what you found in the old storage lockers, Hayes. Lisa grinned and held up what looked like an ancient circuit board. Emergency broadcast equipment. 20 years old, completely obsolete by modern standards. And perfect for what we need. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Explain. The aliens are using quantum encryption for their important communications, but standard radio for ship-to-ship tactical signals. They probably think radio is too primitive to worry about. But this old equipment. Lisa patted the circuit board. It can do something their fancy systems can't. broadcast on multiple frequencies simultaneously, creating interference patterns. We can blanket their tactical frequencies with noise, Marcus explained. Not enough to block communications completely, but enough to create delays and confusion. In a combat situation, even a half-second delay can make the difference. A warning light flashed on Marcus's tablet. "Power spike in Section 4, he muttered. "Hayes with me. Captain, we're going to need another hour to finish the weapons array calibration." "You've got 30 minutes, Sarah replied. "Earth Command is getting suspicious about our delayed return. We need to be ready." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Explain." "The aliens are using quantum encryption for their important communications, but standard radio for ship-to-ship tactical signals. They'd probably think radio is too primitive to worry about. But this old equipment," Lisa patted the circuit board, "it can do something their fancy systems can't. Broadcast on multiple frequencies simultaneously, creating interference patterns. We can blanket their tactical frequencies with noise," Marcus explained. "Not enough to block communications completely, but enough to create delays and confusion. In a combat situation, even a half-second delay can make the difference." A warning light flashed on Marcus's tablet. "Power spike in Section 4, he muttered. "Hayes with me. Captain, we're going to need another hour to finish the weapons array calibration." "You've got 30 minutes, Sarah replied. "Earth Command is getting suspicious about our delayed return. We need to be ready." As her engineers rushed off, Sarah walked to the cargo bay viewport. The distant stars seemed to mock their preparations. The Intrepid was still, at her core, a mining vessel. They were about to take on a fleet of warships with jury-rigged weapons and modified survey equipment. "Captain, to the bridge," Torres's voice came through the intercom. "We're picking up increased activity in the alien fleet." Sarah hurried to the bridge, where Kumar was already analyzing the sensor data. "They're changing formation," the scientist reported, "breaking into smaller groups. Energy readings suggest they're running final systems checks. They're getting ready to move." Sarah realized. How many ships total? 37 distinct signatures. Largest concentration of ships is forming at these coordinates. Kumar highlighted a section of the tactical display. "Looks like they're planning to strike through the Kuiper Belt, using the debris for cover." Sarah studied the display, a plan forming in her mind. They don't know we can see them. And they don't know we've had time to study their practice maneuvers. "Torres, send the coded burst transmission to Earth Command. Use the old emergency protocols we prepared." "What about our position?" Torres asked. "Plot a course that looks like we're finally heading back to Earth, but keep us in range of that debris field." Sarah turned to Kumar. "How accurate are our predictions of their attack vectors?" "Based on their practice runs, we can anticipate their movements with 82% accuracy. They're very methodical." "Good, because we're about to use that against them." Sarah opened a channel to engineering. "Marcus, I need status on those weapons." "Final calibrations now, Captain. Hayes got the targeting systems integrated with the sensor array. We can hit them as soon as they decloak, probably before their shields fully stabilize." Sarah nodded, though Marcus couldn't see it. Everything they'd done in the past 72 hours had been improvised, adapting mining equipment into weapons, survey gear into military-grade sensors. But sometimes the best solutions were the ones no one expected. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered. "But keep our power emissions low. Let them think we're just a tired old mining ship limping home." The bridge crew moved with purpose, each person knowing their role in what was to come. They drilled these procedures for hours, practicing until every jury-rigged system and improvised solution felt natural. "They're starting to move," Kumar reported. "Formation suggests they're preparing to decloak in sequence." Sarah settled into her command chair, feeling the subtle vibrations of the Intrepid's modified systems through the deck plates. They were one mining support vessel against an alien battle fleet, but they had surprise on their side, along with human ingenuity and the kind of determination that came from protecting everything they loved. "Let them make the first move," she said quietly. "Let them think they have us exactly where they want us." The Intrepid continued its seemingly aimless course through the Kuiper Belt, playing the role of vulnerable prey while her crew made final preparations for the battle to come. Sometimes, Sarah reflected, the deadliest predator was the one that looked like prey right up until the moment it struck. The first alien ship decloaked exactly where Kumar had predicted, its sleek hull materializing amid the ice and rock of the Kuiper Belt. Others followed in precise sequence, emerging from invisibility in a carefully choreographed display of military precision. Their formation was perfect, exactly as they'd practiced, and exactly as the Intrepid's crew had watched them rehearse. 37 ships confirmed, Kumar reported from her station. Energy signatures match previous patterns. They're deploying weapons but haven't powered shields to full strength yet. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The aliens were following their rehearsed plan to the letter, confident in their superior technology and the element of surprise. "Wait for it," she ordered quietly. "Let them commit to the attack." The alien fleet's commander finally noticed the seemingly vulnerable mining vessel ahead. A transmission burst across open frequencies, a demand for immediate surrender. The message repeated in multiple human languages, suggesting they'd been studying Earth's communications for some time. "No response," Sarah ordered. "Let them think our communications are as obsolete as everything else about us." She watched the tactical display as the alien ships moved to surround the Intrepid, spreading out to cut off any escape route. Status on their shield harmonics. "Locked in," Marcus replied from engineering. "All 4 mining lasers are calibrated to match their resonance patterns. Hayes's targeting system is tracking every ship." The alien fleet drew closer, no doubt confused by their target's apparent indifference to their presence. "They're powering up main weapons," Kumar reported, reading massive energy buildups across their formation. "Now," Sarah commanded, "hit their command ship first." The Intrepid's modified mining lasers fired simultaneously. The beams, invisible to human eyes, but burning bright on their tactical displays, struck the alien command ship shields at precisely the frequency Marcus had calculated. For a fraction of a second, nothing seemed to happen. Then the shields flickered and collapsed, the simple brute force energy of the mining beams overwhelming the sophisticated defensive systems. "Direct hit," Kumar exclaimed. "Their shields are down, reading multiple hull breaches." The alien fleet reacted with impressive speed, but their practiced maneuvers worked against them. As they moved to protect their wounded command ship, 6 more vessels crossed into the Intrepid's firing solution. The mining lasers fired again, their crude but powerful beams punching through the aliens' supposedly superior defenses. "They're trying to coordinate a response," Torres reported from communications, "but our interference is working. Their tactical channels are flooded with noise. They can't synchronize their attacks." Sarah watched as the alien formation began to break down. Their rehearsed movements assumed perfect communication and coordination, things the Intrepid's jury-rigged jamming systems had taken away. "Hit their flanking ships," she ordered. "Don't let them regroup." The battle that followed would later be studied in military academies across Earth. The alien fleet, despite its superior numbers and technology, found itself fighting an enemy that defied conventional tactical doctrine. The Intrepid's modified mining shields, simple and crude by modern standards, absorbed hits that should have vaporized the ship. Her weapons, little more than industrial cutting tools with the safeties removed, bypassed sophisticated defenses through sheer brute force and unconventional frequencies. 3 more ships disabled, Kumar called out as another volley found its mark. "They're starting to retreat, breaking formation to the stern." But Sarah had anticipated this too. "Helm, execute pattern Bravo. Engineering, stand by for full power to forward arrays." The Intrepid's maneuvering thrusters fired in sequence, using trajectories plotted from studying the alien fleet's practice runs. The ship spun on its axis, bringing its weapons to bear on the retreating vessel's vulnerable rear quadrants. At the same time, Lisa Hayes triggered the modified sensor arrays, broadcasting false mineral signatures that mimicked more human ships approaching through the debris field. "They're falling for it," Kumar reported, excitement in her voice, reading panic in their power signatures, multiple ships trying to cloak simultaneously. "Perfect," Sarah said grimly. "Their power systems will be unstable during the cloak transition. Hit them all." The Intrepid's lasers fired one final barrage, catching 5 more alien ships in the vulnerable moments as they attempted to cloak. Emergency escape pods launched from the stricken vessels, their occupants abandoning their sophisticated warships in favor of simple survival craft. "Remaining ships are jumping out of the system," Torres announced. "Reading 17. No, 19 ships in full retreat. The rest are either disabled or abandoned." Sarah finally allowed herself to relax slightly in her command chair. "Damage report. Shields at 40%, Marcus replied. 2 laser arrays burned out, but the other 2 are still operational. Hull integrity holding at acceptable levels. We're hurt, but we're still in the fight if they come back." "They won't," Sarah said confidently. "Not now. Not after a single obsolete mining vessel just crushed half their fleet." She opened a channel to all hands. "Well done, everyone. Secure from battle stations and begin damage control. Torres, send a full report to Earth Command. They need to know what's coming and how to fight it." As her crew began the work of keeping their wounded ship together, Sarah reflected on the battle's lesson. The aliens had relied on complex technology and carefully rehearsed tactics. The Intrepid's crew had won with improvisation, determination, and the willingness to use simple tools in unexpected ways. Sometimes, she thought, watching the alien fleet retreat into deep space, the best weapon wasn't the most advanced. It was the one your enemy never saw coming until it was too late. 2 months after the battle, Captain Sarah Chen stood in Earth Command's main briefing chamber, facing a panel of admirals and fleet commanders. Behind her, a holographic display showed the Intrepid in dry dock, its battle-scarred hull undergoing repairs that would make it stronger than ever. The alien fleet's tactics revealed both their strengths and their critical weaknesses, Sarah explained, manipulating the holographic display to show tactical data from the battle. They'd achieved incredible advances in stealth technology, shields, and weapons systems, but they'd also fallen into a trap that we humans have encountered before, assuming that newer always means better. Admiral Zhang leaned forward, studying the display. "And you believe this presents an opportunity?" "More than that, sir. It presents a whole new doctrine for space warfare." Sarah gestured, and the display shifted to show schematics of the Intrepid's modified systems. Chief Engineer Rodriguez and his team proved that our older technology, properly adapted, can overcome even the most sophisticated defenses. Not because it's more advanced, but precisely because it isn't. The chamber's doors opened, admitting Marcus Rodriguez and Lisa Hayes. They carried with them the proof of their innovations, detailed technical analyses, and proposed modifications that could transform other civilian vessels into effective combat ships. The aliens' defeat wasn't just about technology, Marcus added, stepping forward. It was about human creativity, about looking at what we had, mining lasers, survey equipment, basic shields, and seeing possibilities that no one else had considered. Lisa activated her own data pad, projecting additional schematics. "We've already begun implementing improved versions of our modifications across the civilian fleet. Every mining vessel, every survey ship, every transport can become a potential defender." The aliens thought they could identify and neutralize our military capabilities by focusing on our warships. They never considered that our civilian vessels could be just as dangerous. The admirals murmured among themselves, studying the data with increasing interest. Admiral Zhang finally spoke again. "Captain Chen, your actions saved not just Earth, but gave us the knowledge we need to defend against future incursions. What are your recommendations moving forward?" Sarah smiled, thinking of her crew's ingenuity during those crucial hours. "First, belay all orders to decommission older vessels. What we consider outdated might be exactly what we need. Second, establish a new division dedicated to unconventional modifications and tactics. And third, she paused, making eye contact with each admiral in turn. Remember that our greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to never, ever give up. The meeting room on the Intrepid felt crowded as Sarah gathered her crew one last time before their scheduled refit. The ship's interior showed signs of the battle: patched hull plates, replaced conduits, and newly installed equipment that merged old technology with new innovations inspired by their experience. Earth Command has officially redesignated us, she announced to her assembled crew. We're no longer just a mining support vessel. The Intrepid is now the prototype for a new class of hybrid defense ships. Every modification, every jury-rigged solution we created during the battle is being studied and improved upon. Does this mean they're finally going to give us proper military-grade weapons? Torres asked with a grin. Actually, no, Marcus answered before Sarah could. They want us to keep our mining equipment, just with some improvements. He patted a nearby bulkhead affectionately. Turns out our obsolete technology is exactly what we need. More than that, Sarah added, they want us to train other crews, teach them how to think differently about their ship's capabilities. The aliens will be back, maybe not the same ones, but others will come. And when they do, they'll find that every civilian ship in human space is a potential defender. Dr. Kumar spoke up from her station, where she was still analyzing data from the battle. They'll adapt, though. Develop countermeasures against what we did. Of course they will, Sarah agreed. But that's the beauty of human ingenuity. We'll adapt too. Keep thinking of new ways to use what we have. That's what they don't understand about humanity. We're our most dangerous when we're forced to be creative. The crew dispersed to their duties, but Sarah remained on the bridge, watching through the viewport as repair drones worked on the Intrepid's hull. The ship would never look pristine again. Its hull would always bear the scars of battle. But those scars told a story that would inspire future generations. A story about how an old mining vessel and her determined crew had proved that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the innovative spirit that turned simple tools into the means of victory. The Intrepid would continue to serve, not just as a defender of human space, but as a reminder that true strength lies not in the sophistication of one's weapons, but in the courage and creativity to use whatever tools are at hand. In the depths of space, other alien civilizations might be watching, measuring humanity's military strength by the size of its warships or the power of its weapons. But they would learn, as their predecessors had, that humans were most dangerous when underestimated. Every civilian ship could become a defender, every piece of outdated technology could find new purpose, and every human crew had the potential to turn the tables on even the most sophisticated enemy. The Intrepid's legacy would live on, not just in victory, but in the lesson it taught. Sometimes the best way to face the future is to remember that the old ways, combined with human ingenuity, could overcome any challenge the universe might present.